In this chapter, we will learn how to import, export, and read worksheets directly from an Excel file. R also comes with different packages to read, write, and manipulate Excel files directly without converting them into other formats. Some of the common packages are XLConnect that uses RJava, a low-level R to Java interface. Then open.xlsx is written on C++ instead of Java. Again, for Perl dependencies, we have gdata package. Also, other packages include readXL, XLSX, readR, and so on. Now, let's learn each of them in detail. Our first Java-based package to read and write Excel file is XLConnect. XLConnect is a connector for R that provides comprehensive functionality to read, write, and format Excel data. XLConnect import functions include load workbook, read workbook from file, and XLConnect export functions include createSheet, write workbook, and save workbook. First is the load workbook. It loads, or we can say it creates a Microsoft Excel workbook in R for further manipulation. To use the function, type load workbook, then the file name, which is the Excel file to be loaded in R. Create indicates if the file should be created if doesn't already exist. By default, it is set to false. Then password per password protected file. Now let's see an example on how to load a workbook. First, install the XLConnect package and its dependencies. Then simply define the Excel file inside the functions. Done. Workbook loaded. To know more about the features and the documentation, we can always use a question mark with the package name than the function name. Since we have finished loading the workbook, now it's time to read the workbook. For that, we have a readWorksheet function that reads the data from worksheets of a load workbook. The parameters of readWorksheet includes object name, which is the name of the workbook from the load workbook. Sheet is the sheet name of the workbook. Start call and start row and call are the optional arguments to define the starting and the end of data according to our requirements. Let's see this with the help of an example. Read the first Excel sheet from Excel_data, our object that is sample.xlsx file. Type read worksheet, object name XLSX data, sheet name store, then header is equal to true. Done. To display the worksheet, view Excel_data, another R object where we have saved the result. The same way we will use to read the second Excel sheet by sharing program, but from row number 10 and column number 3. Now our next function is to read the worksheet directly from a file without loading the data via load workbook. Read worksheet from file. It reads the data from a worksheet directly from a physical Excel file. Parameters of read worksheet from file includes: first is the Excel file name. Then second is the sheet name of the workbook. Then start column and rows, columns. The rest of the arguments are same as read worksheet. Here sample.xlsx is the physical Excel file, then store is the worksheet, header is equal to true, and is done. View Excel_data3 to display the data. The difference between read worksheet and read worksheet from file is in read worksheet the Excel file have to first load it in R directory using load workbook function in order to view the data. But in read worksheet from file, it reads the Excel sheet directly from a physical file. Now we are aware of how to import an Excel data. Let's learn how to create an Excel inside using R. First, to create a sheet, we will use createSheet function that creates a new worksheet in a workbook loaded via load workbook. Parameters include object, that is the name of the workbook to use, and the name, which is the name of the sheet to create. Next is we will see how to create an Excel sheet using createSheet function. CreateSheet function is as simple as the previous one. We only need to define the name of the workbook and then the new worksheet name. So XLConnect createSheets creates a workbook with the specified name if it doesn't already exist. The name of the worksheets need to be in a line with the Excel's convention, otherwise an exception will be thrown. For example, worksheet's name cannot be longer than 31 characters. Since we have already created an empty worksheet, now we will add some data into our newly created worksheet. For that, we will use writeWorksheet function that helps to create a new worksheet in a workbook loaded via loadWorkbook function. So type writeWorksheet, then object name, that is the name of the worksheet to read, data is the data to be written, sheet will be the name of the sheet or the index value of the sheet to write to, then we have start row, column, header, and so on like before. Let's understand with the help of an example. writeWorksheet XLSX data is our workbook, then bike sharing program is a new sheet that we will copy and paste it to new_sheet. Done, as simple as it looks. So XLConnect writeWorksheet helps to write data to the worksheet specified by the sheet. Data here are assumed to be data frame and is covers to 1 if this is not already the case. Then start row and call defines the top left corner of the data region to be written. Last is our save workbook function that saves our workbook to the corresponding Excel file. This method is actually writes the workbook object to disk. For example, save workbook object name XLSX and then the file name to which it will save the workbook, similar to save as file in a Microsoft Excel. Next is we will see how to troubleshoot some common errors related to XLConnect.